The pronunciation of that is Ladhar Bheinn. Ladhar means a hoof. There's no doubt about that. The B becomes a V sound and is written BH. Ladhar Bheinn.
Now, the internal combustion engine has a lot to answer for, believe me, because now you can just pile into a car, get out, climb a hill and you're back home before Coronation Street. But happily for wilderness lovers, there are still a few Munros that are so remote and inaccessible that you really are going to have to make an effort to get there. For instance, Larven, which is the most westerly mainland Munro, is situated in the beautiful region of Knoydart. This is where we've decided to start the great Knoydart expedition from. It's Kinlochhourn, a beautiful place, and what this involves is a 5-mile walk along quite a rough track to Barrisdale Bay and Knoydart, where I'm afraid we have to camp. There is no choice if the bothy's full, but don't worry about me, I'm sure you're not. I'm not a seasoned camper, but Ross, the researcher with the beard who is a seasoned camper, is with me all the way, I assure you, to show me the ropes.
Guidelines.
Guidelines, whatever. The first section of this walk is delightfully straightforward. Simply follow the path from Kinlochhourn along the lochside to Barrisdale Bay. There are numerous ways into Knoydart for a backpacking and Munro bagging spree. You could take the boat from Mallaig to Inverie on the other side of the peninsula, walk in from Glen Desiree or even Glen Finnan further south. The choices are endless and will have you drooling over the map for hours. Well, the walk along Loch Hourn side is so beautiful. It would make a fabulous low-level walk if you didn't want to climb any mountains. But only 10 minutes away from where we started, you get your first view of Larven. And when you see that fantastic mountain there, it would take great strength of character to resist it. Well, as you can see, the path doesn't always stick exactly to the shoreline. There's a bit of ascending and descending to be done. But it's quite good to get this bit of height. It's a great vantage point to look back at the view. If you can see that small house down there, just make that out. That's actually built or renovated in the site of an old 19th century pub called Sgurr. And that was where E.E. Robertson, the Reverend E.E. Robertson no less, the first Munroist, went in to try and get a bed for the night, but was not impressed. He said the rooms were damp and dirty and there was no beer or whiskey. Imagine no beer or whiskey in a Highland pub. What did they have? Bacardi and Coke and Babycham. This is the most westerly section of the old Caledonian forest in mainland Scotland, and it's genetically unique as it evolved in isolation from the great expanse of trees that once covered the country. Of course, you could always get into Knoydart by boat if you managed to get hold of one, but remember to check the tides. This is us finally arrived at Barrisdale Bay after that beautiful walk. This is where we're going to camp for the night. And I have to say, the last time I stood on this beach was about 11 or 12 years ago. I walked in from Inverie, which is over by Mallaig, and it felt very much like a wilderness. It doesn't feel like a wilderness to me anymore. Maybe that's just my problem. There's lots of boats buzzing around. There's holiday cottages the other side of Loch Hourn full of people having a great time, admittedly, and there's certainly lots of walkers. What cannot be spoiled, though, is the majesty of Larven behind me, which, weather permitting, we will be climbing tomorrow. This is where we're going to call home for tonight, because Ross has designated this as a good camping site, and in good Blue Peter fashion, Ross, man with the beard Murray, is now going to show us how to erect something. A tent, I think. Right, that's the tent, presumably.
That's the tent, presumably.
Put up a tent.
15 seconds.
You just made that up. It's a horrible scabby old thing. I'm not telling you to do this, you're just kind of doing it. I thought maybe in a bit of a substandard tent.
Can you come?
You don't even have a camping mallet. Normal people have camping mallets. I've seen people with them. It's so horrible in here. It's so horrible. There's things in it. things in this tent. What kind of tent is that anyway?
It's a camping tent.
Very funny. You could do with a hoover. Have you tried hoovering it?
Hoovering it?
You can get cordless hoovers. They pick up most things.
Whale seed is this.